Well, hello to everybody. That's week 4 feedback video. And
Final week?
Yeah, final week. And I mean, there's been lots of expressions of just enjoyment and mutual support, gratitude, and also a bit of sadness that at the end of the week, this is the final for this run. But of course, just remember that you can do the course again in the future if you'd like to. So there's a few topics to come up and discuss this week, and one of the queries about is it ever too late to learn mindfulness? You know, what happens if you're a bit older? And you'll be happy to know that it's never too late. So there's always the potential to learn, to grow. The brain always has the capacity to change even into old age.
Mm-hmm.
And so, no, it's helpful not to be defeatist about this. Although, mind you, it's easiest to make those changes when we're young. Yeah. But we never lose the opportunity.
Softer, more plastic brain. But of course, you know, even our PhD student Ping found that your older people who learn mindfulness improve their well-being and their cognitive performance. And there's quite a bit of research showing similar things. Plus that research showing that people that meditate throughout the lifespan don't have that same age-related cognitive decline. So that's also a really useful finding. So it's never too late.
Yeah, and also the telomeres don't shorten as fast. So, you know, it's a good way to stay eternally young.
Yeah.
Now, some interesting things about discoveries about values and so on, Richard.
Yeah, well, I think one of the beautiful things about this course is that it's about taking mindfulness deeper and really looking in and looking out and sort of getting in touch with deeper parts of ourselves. And so our learners really enjoyed getting in touch with their values. Some of them found it actually very challenging, you know, getting clear on what are my values or realising that their values perhaps weren't in alignment with how they were living their lives. Yeah. But a lot of them found it very rewarding, just tuning in and sort of asking, you know, why am I doing the things that I do? What is it that lights me up? What is it that inspires me, gets me out of bed in the morning? Yeah. And so mindfulness connects us with deeper parts of ourselves. And that's actually one of my favourite things about it.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes when somebody's choosing something they value, and but they value something else at the same time. So what's happening there? Are we not being true to our values, or are we just valuing something more for one reason or another?
Well, in any moment, I guess that's going to be the case, isn't it? And we all have values that conflict at times, and then we have to maybe sit with that dialectic and just maybe make a decision, and perhaps that's an ongoing negotiation with ourselves or a dance really that we need to do between sort of meeting different values that we have. And then, of course, to complicate things further, there are the values of others. And, of course, you know, sometimes we might value space and quiet, and someone, you know, our partner might be valuing connection and want some conversation. And that's, again, when we need to negotiate this. And sometimes that can be, you know, easy to do, and other times not necessarily. And then, of course, some of our learners talking about having kids and needing to certainly put their needs aside to take care of their kids. I don't know that you necessarily have to put your values aside, because in that situation, I guess you just value something else.
Yes, something you value higher, and you have to sort of sacrifice something else.
Yes.
And it's not a matter of we don't value that, it's just that we have to make choices.
That's right, yeah.
Yes, and so
speaking of going deeper, goals and ethics and ethical decision making.
Yeah, there was some interesting discoveries. A number of learners commented about things like the sunk cost bias.
Yes.
And we all know what it's like to have gotten too deeply into something, to know you need to step back, pull away, but to not do that. And then from a mindfulness perspective, okay, well, maybe that wasn't the right choice, but we can be curious about that, to notice what drove the choice, to notice the kind of the way the mind works on itself sometimes, to justify something that something in us telling us it's not the right thing, and then to acknowledge what comes with it. And if we turn that otherwise negative experience to something useful, get curious, don't judge it, but learn, well, then I think we're better off next time we're in a situation like that, is we will remember that.
Yes.
And we perhaps might make a more informed or mindful choice the next time.
I think that's true, right? And of course, you know, when we're looking at making decisions ethically and getting in touch with what some of our learners call the ethical component of a decision, I think really what mindfulness is about is connection. You know, it's that reconnection with the senses, with the body, with those deeper parts of ourselves, and recognizing our connection, or in fact our interdependence with others and with the natural world. And once we sense that, you know, our thoughts and words and actions sort of affect everyone and everything around us, we naturally start, I think, to make better decisions based on a broader sense of ethics and ecology.
Yeah. It's interesting, a recent review paper looked at 31 different studies, and they found the more mindful a person is, the more prosocial they tend to be.
Yep. That makes sense, doesn't it?
And either just as a relationship, or if a person does a mindfulness program, they become more prosocial as a natural result of that. And I think that's one of the misconceptions people have, is that mindfulness is, and meditation is self-centered. You're thinking about yourself, you're obsessed with yourself. It's actually the opposite of that. It's stopping thinking about ourselves and to open our attention out.
Even if it does start being about ourselves and reducing stress and taking time for ourselves and meditating, I don't know about you, I'm sure you'd have the same experience, but in all the courses I teach, by the end of the course, people are starting to be much more aware of others and much more compassionate and empathic. It just seems to be a natural flow-on effect.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So, a lot of learners have been commenting on how useful the pause can be, the mini meditations.
So powerful,
the little commas, because they help us to reset, to be aware again, and they really help us to move into the next activity with more intention, more awareness. So it's the frequency, not just the duration. Having a long meditation practice, that can be very useful, but it's actually the frequency of remembering.
Just taking moments throughout the day to pause and just put a break in all that busyness and thinking, just so that we can have a moment of clarity and a moment of actually being wherever we are.
Even if the pause is a very brief one, it's enough to actually show us quite a lot, which is very helpful.
Yeah.
ACT. Now, there's quite a lot of discussion about ACT this week.
Acting. Yeah, to be or not to be. No.
Different kind of ACT.
Different kind of ACT. So ACT is an acronym that stands for Acceptance and Commitment Therapy, which is one of, I guess, the more popular mindfulness-based therapies.
Yes.
It's been popularised through, through really great books, and there's a lot of research behind it. And so our learners sort of asking questions like, what's the difference between mindfulness and ACT? And to that, I would say that mindfulness is the foundation of acceptance commitment therapy, because in a nutshell, ACT is about recognizing that if we live a valued existence, if we value connection, or we value success or achievement, we're going to experience discomfort, because that's just part of of living a valued life. And so then mindfulness gives us the ability to, I guess, tolerate the discomfort, to step back from it, not get caught in it, not react to it, and also to identify what our values are and then to commit to moving in that direction. And so mindfulness is kind of the foundation of all of that. This ability to know what our values are, to have the presence of mind to commit and stay on track and notice when we're not. And also, of course, just as I said, to tolerate that discomfort. So that's really the relationship between the two.
And diffusing from thoughts, actually standing back from thoughts, the non-attachment to the thoughts. The language might be slightly different, but I think it's very much faithful to the philosophy, although, as I often say, the 4 Fs of teaching mindfulness is to be faithful to the philosophy, but flexible with the form.
That's a good way to think about it. Yeah.
And mind you, for some of our learners, they will have realised that's 3 Fs and a PH. But,
if they're attentive, if they're really paying attention.
4 phonetic Fs.
Yeah. Early on, the ACT camp, so to speak, kind of said, look, you don't really need to meditate. There are other ways of practicing mindfulness. I guess with those cognitive practices that we cover in Mindfulness for Wellbeing and Peak Performance. But I think there's a recognition now that some meditation practice to retrain the brain and to build those connections is actually important. And most ACT practitioners that I know professionally are certainly encouraging a little bit of meditation.
Yes. Yeah. So less formal practice than you might find in MBCT, MBSR, etc. But nevertheless, it's a wonderful catalyst. Practicing some meditation, it really makes all of the other things that are part of ACT so much more achievable.
That's right.
Really. Yeah. So that's about all for feedback video for this week. And again, a big thank you to all the people behind the scenes who Sherelle and Jen.
Too many to name, but the moderators have once again done a beautiful job.
Yeah, fantastic. And all the team here at Monash who really make this whole program possible.
Yeah. And to all of the learners, we'd just like to thank everybody for being so thoughtful and open and respectful in your comments and supporting one another. And I'm sure you'd have a similar experience, but the final session of a course, any course, face-to-face, online, for me is a beautiful experience, hearing about people's changes and, and progress and how far they've come.
Yeah.
Yep.
So by all means, if you want to let other people know about it, if you found the course useful, let people know about it.
Please review the course. We'll provide some links for places that you can do that. This course will run again next year, as will our other course, our introductory course, Mindfulness for Wellbeing and Peak Performance, which will start in March.
That's right. Yeah. So it's been great spending this time with you, and have a great festive season, either a warm one or a cold one, depending on which part of the world you're in, and we'll look forward to being with you next year.